Hello, today I will give you a progressive chess puzzle. How does progressive chess work? Well, you put up the pieces in the initial position of a game. White starts as normal to play one move, but now the progression starts. Black can play two moves in a row like this. Now it's white to play. White plays three moves in a row, for example, these moves. Now it's black to play, and black can play four moves. And, maybe you've already seen it, black can deliver checkmate like this, putting the queen on f2, supported by the pawn on e3, checkmate in only four moves. And this is what progressive chess is about. It is to learn how to foresee the checkmate, how to build up an attack, and not the least, creativity to coordinate the pieces. And one of my favorite puzzles I will give to you now. In this position, it is white to play. White will play five moves in a row. And yes, there is a checkmate. There are many checkmates. And your task is to find as many mating pictures as possible. What do I mean with a mating picture? A mating picture is the final position. It's the actual checkmate. If it differs from another one, it's a new mating picture. But if you find the same mating picture, but you have another route with the pieces to reach this position, it's still only one mating picture. Okay? Before you start, I also have to say that there is one checkmate in only four moves. I will give you a golden star if you find it, but you can only count it as one mating picture. Till the end, I gave this position to Magnus Carlsen when he was 11 years old. In 10 minutes, he found 12 different mating pictures. See if you can break his record. Now, time for the challenge. This is the position. White to play five moves in a row. How many different mating pictures can you find? If you want time to think, pause the video. Otherwise, I will soon give you the answer. So, time to give you the answer of all the possibilities that there is in this position. Hopefully I found everyone. Maybe you can find even more. But we start with this position. And normally when a child or a chess player got this position, they started to think about delivering checkmate on h7 because, this kind of position with a knight on g5, a queen on h5 reaching h7 is a very normal way to deliver checkmate. But you need to get rid of this knight on f6, and you can do it, for example, with a pawn to go to f6. Very important to note is that you cannot go with a knight on c3 to d5 and take on f6, because then it's check and it's the opponent's turn to play, because as soon as it's a check in progressive chess, it's opponent's turn to play. And now checkmate like this. Then you can also take the knight first by putting out the bishop to g5, take on f6, and then the queen will reach h7 like this. Now it's getting more complicated when this standard maneuver is gone. Instead, you have to think about maybe to deliver checkmate on g7 instead. And why not put up the queen on h6 like this, and then go with the pawn again to deliver checkmate like this. But there are several other possibilities to support the queen on g7. For example, you can play the bishop to f6, then go with the queen to g7 like this. Or another possibility is to go with the bishop to h6 and then go with the queen to f6 and g7. New variation on the same theme is to go with the queen to g5, and instead of taking the knight, you take the pawn like this and you deliver checkmate. And now I will show you a variation of this one that gives a new mating picture. It is that you move the bishop, but then the pawn to e5, and the queen takes the route through d3 to take on g7 like this. And now the difference is that the pawn is on e5 instead on e4. Okay, still there are possibilities to support the queen on g7, and we have one possibility is to go this route as well. Before I showed you queen to d3, e5 and g6 and checkmate. And you can go with the queen to h6 and support it with a knight on f5 like this. Or you can also go with a knight to g5 and e6 and deliver checkmate like this. Now it's time to be even more creative, because there are other great mating pictures to find. And one of the most beautiful is this one. Go with the bishop to h6, then e5, f6, and the pawn is doing the work. It reaches f8, and now it's a queen, but another mating picture is that you put in a rook instead. Okay? So now time for a new mating picture, and you have one very nice one in playing the bishop to f6 like this, and now the king is stalemated and the knight on e7 will do the trick. Another way is to play like this. Take the knight to f7, support it with the bishop on c4, and then deliver mate like this. I said that there is also a checkmate in 4 moves. Maybe you have found it. It's rather beautiful. It is done only with the knights, putting one on g6 and then go with the knight to e7, and it's checkmate in only 4 moves. I hope you've understood the potential of this great little chess variant. It teaches you to foresee, to be creative, and not the least how you learn how to deliver checkmate in different ways when you attack. That was that. Bye.